Today I talk about whether a bunch of cut broomsticks can actually make an improvement in the sound in your room. Just kidding. Not really. So guys, today on Michael's Audio Adventures, we're going to cover something that I've actually been pretty excited to do for a while. Let's get the elephant out of the room. I know that these look like a bunch of cut broomsticks randomly put in any order as a diffuser. And that's kind of what I thought the first time I saw them. But there's actually more to them than that. There's actually mathematical formulas behind it. There's different diameters. I'm looking at the floor one here. There's different diameters for each one. There's a specific density to the wood in terms of performance. In fact, you cannot paint these because that will affect the performance. And they're also laid out distance-wise and three-dimensionally in a way to maximally affect the sound. Frankly, I'm not sure I really believed any of that stuff. So I said, well, let's try it. As I usually do, you guys know my mantra. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody tells me they hear or they don't hear. I'm going to listen to it for myself. I'm going to listen to it in my room, on my gear, and see if I hear it. And if I do, I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to tell you what I hear and whether I like it or not. But just because I may or may not like something doesn't mean that you may or may not like something. So you may think that I'm setting this up to say I wasn't impressed with these. Nothing could be further from the truth. I was actually incredibly impressed with these. Let's take a step back. I have been fighting room acoustics for decades. One of my very first rooms was extremely overdamped. It was lifeless. It was dead. There was nothing I could do to bring any type of decent sound to that room. And that was frustrating. The current room I'm in now, it's a mixed-use room. It's a very large room. I've done the best that I can in terms of window treatments, couches, pillows. We've got a throw rug. We've got a tile floor here, a wood floor there, throw rug with some padding. But I've still been playing with it, trying to get it all dialed in for the last couple of years. I like to watch the videos of the shows, the HiFi shows in Tokyo, in Taiwan, and also Hong Kong. I think it's really cool to see what they're doing over there. I feel that Asia in general has got a real pulse on musicality, has got a real pulse on hi-fi that's really alive and flourishing. I wanted to see how many times I could say really there in the sentence. So I enjoy watching those videos. And I had noticed the floor ones first of the AGS diffusers, and that really caught my eye. I have tried everything from absorption panels. I have tried a variety of different types of diffusion, different styles, the 2x2 grids, that's two-dimensional, the tall vertical ones that we've all seen. I've tried them at a multitude of price points. I've had mixed success. And one of the things that opened my eyes was recently I had flown up to a dealer in Indianapolis. His room sounded phenomenal. And I was really intrigued to see he had very minimal acoustic treatments. And most of what he did have was simple diffusion. And he said, Michael, you don't need a lot. Most people over-treat their rooms. So I said, okay. So I started to research that more. And the more I researched, the more I've come to the philosophy of, generally speaking, we can sometimes over-treat a room, over-damp a room to the point of hurting the sound rather than helping. And I had reached that point in this room. I started taking out some of my absorption panels, and I noticed it started to liven up in a better way, that the absorption panels were actually deadening the sound. So I wanted to approach this in a methodical way. Notice I say methodical and not scientific. Nothing I do is scientific. If you want scientific measurements, there are plenty of other channels that can do that for you. I'm here to simply share my personal adventures with you in audio and what I hear and what I like. So it's very simplistic. I don't sell anything. I don't make money off this channel. So just ignore me if you want. I don't care. Anyway, the AGS, what I did is I used my normal multitude of songs for test tracks. If you guys have watched the other videos, you know it's a live recording of Above and Beyond Liquid Love at the Hollywood Bowl. It is a Holly Cole trio. It's Kyrie by Jose Carreras and an opera by Marie Calais. Those are my 4, and then I have a variety of different type of vocal trance and stuff like that, blues and jazz. I love Give Me My Coat and My Shoes by Buddy Guy and Junior Wells. So there's a multitude, but those are my, oh, and there's the 10-minute version of the Taylor Swift song that to me cover a variety of different things that I'm looking for in a system setup that help me get to what I'm trying to get to. The first thing I did was with the Mini, which is currently in front of the TV, between the 2 speakers, I tried with nothing there, I tried with absorption, I tried with 2 different types of diffusion, I tried with the Mini by the TV, I tried it right up against the TV and then out somewhat on the console table. I also tried it on the floor. I get the best sound with it where it is in its current position, away from the TV on the console table. Frankly, I went into it rather skeptical because it's smaller than what I had there before. It's lighter than what I had there before, and it actually looks better than what I had there before. And that is one of the keys on this, guys, that I'll get to in a minute. I was really surprised at how much of a difference it made. And the difference it made was previously I did not like the absorption there, the diffusion panel, either the tall 4-foot tall ones that I had or the 2x2 did pretty decent. They would always make the sound definitely wider, okay? But the difference with the Mini AGS is it did 2 things that the other ones didn't. Yes, it made it wider. It actually dealt with some cancellation of waves in the kick drum region. I noticed that kick drums were immediately fuller and more impactful when it was there in front of the TV. It also started to pull out dimensionally the sound. So it started to add depth to the sound. I am guessing, I have no idea, that part of that is the fact that it's more 3-dimensional and round in the ways that it works. So it's enveloping the sound better, the sound waves better. But it was not a subtle difference. I would say that's a great starting point for a lot of people if you just have a home theater room, or even if you have a rack and you want to get into this piece by piece, definitely start with that Mini. They are designed, they can also hang on the walls. I had good luck with it there, so it's staying there. The next step I did was I added the ones over my shoulder, which are and I'm looking at the manuals here, the FS1s. There is a left and a right, and the manual talks about all the different positions and places that you can put it. And what's interesting is that the manuals mimic what I saw in the videos, which mimicked my real life experience. That you don't need a lot of these to get big performance. That part of all the effort that they went into in terms of their years of research and trying to find the right dimensions, the right density of the wood, the right spacing, makes them, in my personal experience, perform much better than larger items. So there is a benefit to that, and especially when this is a mixed-use room, I can, if I don't want to leave it in the room, I can just bring it in and out of the room easily, and I'm not doing a lot of them. So I went with the FS1s. There's a left and a right to them. And what that did is that now really filled out nicely everything that was between the speakers. Now I was getting even more depth. I was starting to get a little bit wider imaging. The speakers were sounding taller. I'm guessing that's because they go much taller than what I had there with the Mini. It was a much larger effect overall than what the Mini gave. I did not notice a difference in the kick drums and the mid bass with those, because I think the Mini was handling that wave cancellation off of that TV effectively. So the FS ones were really good. I really like them. You can use them also. I have them lined up just almost behind on the inside of each speaker. I tried them together. I tried them further apart. Where they are now sounds the best for me. The manual also says you can use them on the side walls if you want, or the back walls. You don't need to go with the much larger ones, which are the ST ones that I currently have on the side. You can use these FS ones that come as a 2-pack for such a thing. And I really didn't think they were going to make that much of a difference, because they're not very wide. They're nice. They have adjustable feet. It's easy to set them up. I had them on floor sliders, so I could just play with them and get them where I want them. But they really did make a a vastly superior difference in terms of what I had been getting there for sound before. So now I've got the Mini and I've got the two FS1s. At that point, I then tried the ST1s, and I found I already knew where they were, my first reflection points on the wall. And I tried them, I first put them dead center where that first reflection point was, and I had mediocre results. I then moved it so that it was 2/3, 1/3. That dead center line for the first reflection point was 1/3 of the way down the length of it, and then 2/3 of the, so 2/3 of this was closer towards me. That improved, that started to improve it even better. And then I pulled it out from the wall 1.5 inches, and that really helped envelop the sound. So now imagine what I've done. So I've got this three-dimensionality that these have brought. So when I listen to things such as a Holly Cole, or I listen to Above and Beyond, it's making the singer not only come out and have that dimension, but it's adding a three-dimensional body to her that I hadn't previously experienced. Now the side ones, what they do is they take that effect and they carry it not only further depth-wise, but also outwards more. So it's more of an enveloping sound, whereas this was really good maybe up into the listening chair. The side ones now brought it beyond and around, and it really envelops you and just magnifies that effect overall. So I've got the floor ones. The floor ones were interesting for me. I actually did the Mini first, then I did the FS1s, then I did the floor, then I did the sides. The floor ones for me, when I first put them there and I listened to the Above and Beyond song, there's in the middle, they've got the drums going, they got two different drums, and it's very easy for those drums to merge together and not be well articulated or to get muddy. I love the track for testing that. These actually, at first I thought I lost some bass in the kick drum, and then I realized no, it was cleaning up all that muddiness, and I was hearing it much more texture, much more distinctly, because when I played songs with a lot of bass, it was all still there. None of it had gone away. It was just cleaner, tighter, and it was much more defined and articulate. So the floor ones were handling the vertical first wave bouncing off the ceiling that was clearly a destructive wave, and helping me in regards to that. So each one of these, where I'm going with that, is that each one of these plays off each other. Each one of them is part of a system that you can expand over time. You can start with just the small one and then maybe do the FS1s or the floors. I love the floors. And if you look at some of the videos over in Asia, there's some videos where they've got the JBL Everest speakers. They've got dual 15-inch woofers side by side, and they've got the floor ones side by side. Or they've got really, really tall speakers, and then they'll have 2 or 3 of these floor ones lined out so that it gets the full first reflection point for all the drivers. The sky's the limit. But what I really like about these, and I had alluded to this earlier, is that yes, price-wise, these are not cheap. They are superior by far to the build quality of any other diffuser, any other wood diffuser I've ever had come through my house. And I'm going to show you some video now of just, a lot of the stuff is just cheaply made. And you're getting for that, price-wise. These are extremely heavy and dense. They are incredibly well made. There is an attention to detail in the fit and finish, so that whereas the other ones looked like they belonged in a toy room or something like that, they looked very DIY. I guess that's the best way to describe it. These look like a high-end finished product that my wife is actually going to allow me to leave these in the room. They look fine. They're very neutral in their decor. But if we have guests over, because I only have a couple of them, and a couple of them go a long way, whereas with the other lesser expensive ones, I'd have to buy many more of them, I think you're almost at the same price point. It ends up playing out in terms of the number. Do you want to spend money to get more cheaper looking ones, cheaper quality that you need more of, or do you want to spend less and get a few products that go a long way, that are much more flexible and are much better quality? I know which one I'm going to end up with. So that's a decision you need to make. If I had an ideal dream room, I think what I would do is that, although I'm not a big fan of a lot of absorption, I do believe that it's good to have some of those 6 and 8 inch deep bass absorption panels to really absorb some of the bass to get it better in the room. I would probably have either bass traps in the corner on the back wall, or I would have a couple of them on the wall, and then I would get another set of the FS ones, and I'd put them on the back wall to have a combination of diffusion and absorption. I don't think you really need to do that, though. I really think that with the setup that we have here in this room, it's a really fantastic performance that is simple to set up, it's easy to tweak, it looks great, and you can bring it in and out of the room. So I'm very pleased. Oh, the only other thing I would do is I'd be curious to try one of these floor diffusers in front of the subwoofer. I bet you that would be really cool to try someday. So we'll see if that can happen. But otherwise, I love this stuff. I'm telling you, it is the best acoustic treatments I've ever tried at any price. It is less pieces with far superior performance to other stuff I've tried. Guys, I don't sell this. I don't make money off of this. I don't make money off this channel. I really don't care whether you buy this or not. I'm just having fun sharing this with you and sharing my journey. So that's where I'm at. Message down below. Tell me what you're using for absorption or diffusion and what your experience has been. Guys, I love this stuff. This AGS, for me, I finally feel as though I've gotten, and this is probably partly because I've stepped up the game in terms of speakers and gear and cables. So I'm reaching a point now where this is going to be more audible. But I finally feel as though I'm getting the performance in this room that I frankly never thought was doable. And this is a pretty crappy room. So if I'm getting this kind of performance out of this room, I can't imagine what these would do in a better room. I'll link to them down below. Check them out. I really think you're going to be pleased with them if you're looking for room acoustics. And it's a really easy setup, really fast, and it works fantastic. Guys, thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.